button. There's a lot of buttons that go ahead of that one, but
big money, no whammies.
Yeah, that's the main one. We are live now. Perfect. So let me put that up on Twitter, and
Twitter.
It'll tag you in there, Mac. Let's see.
I gotta go ahead and get my mic turned off before I get
live.
Feedback City. There we go.
There we are, and we'll have some folks hop on and hit the chat wall and everything and sling insults at us, and that's all good by us. Jumpy Bob, what's up, Jumpy Bob?
Whatever you want to do over in the chat wall is up to you. We're not editing that either.
Right. Nothing. We did. You know what? It's a matter of I wouldn't say laziness, just a matter of keeping it real, if you will. That eventually, after editing it many times, maybe a half a dozen times, I was just like, what if I just didn't edit at all? And which means I have to pipe the music in live and do all that. But I can deal with that. That's no big deal.
Well, and once you figure out your demographic is very solidly 20 to 60.
Yeah.
You start getting a little bit less worried about what adults are saying on a chat wall. Like, you're seeing all this on Twitter anyway. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Before you do that, because I'll forget by the end of the show. So we did, after we said we weren't going to edit anymore, we edited one time.
True.
Because some guest of ours did not realize that despite the warning as such, we were still on YouTube. And he revealed something that he did not want to reveal to the public. And that's the only video amongst a series that is audio only, because Rusty went in and clipped the YouTube and cut all the video feed out of it.
Yeah.
And that person was CJ Walliver.
I was going to say, I had a little quick heads up on that one, which is why I kind of asked to confirm how we were ending things. So, yeah, props to CJ on that one.
I will let you know when we're on the air and off the air.
Absolutely the only mistake we made. Now, granted, After Dark will sometimes get a little more adult-themed and cuss-wordy, but like telling secrets about the sport that you work in is probably bad.
Yeah. Not ideal. Definitely not ideal.
Yeah. That one's lost to the annals.
Anyway, not ideal.
Yeah, that one's lost to the annals of YouTube and whoever happened to be live for the 2-minute block right after that before we.
And you know what? Be honest with you, if you put a gun to my head, I could never tell you what he told us. I have no clue.
Oh, I know.
That's funny. How some meat sticks with some
you don't
folks.
Forget. All right, so that's the mental note on my end. Watch what I say for sure.
We try not to set traps. That's the whole thing around this sort of long form, free flowing deal is we don't set traps.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, definitely.
We tee up fastballs. That's what we're here to do.
Oh yeah. Just the floater.
Yeah, batting practice, 62-mile-an-hour fastballs.
That's right.
No pressure at all.
Well, let's see. We got the folks on. Mac, you ready to roll?
I am, yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, I believe now that we switched to Zoom, so we were doing Skype for the last 5 years, and now we've switched to doing Zoom, and I believe you'll be able to hear me and the music and everything else. With Skype, it completely goes silent for a minute and a half, so if it happens to do that, then it's silent for a minute and a half, but I think you'll be able to hear me do all the intro stuff, right. And you'll hear me bring Sherwin on and then bring you on, and we'll just go from there. Otherwise, I mean, it's pretty free-flowing. The show notes, maybe if I were to, like, paste it into a Word document or something, would be half a page. So we just kind of wing it.
Yeah, 200 words at the most.
Yeah, so we'll wing it, and we'll have some fun with it. So,
and your mic will be hot even if Rusty disappears.
True,
you will stay hot. Right. So, I mean, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Who was it that we had that was like, "Can you hear me, guys?" And I was just laughing my butt off.
That was Rick Mast.
It was Rick Mast. Yeah. Awesome. All right, fellas. Well, let's do this. Here we go. I am recording now. welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 258. It's Tuesday, September 1st, number 1, 2020. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm in the PTM Podcast Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. Before we get started, you'll know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie and some stickers. Best part is, every cent this year, we're once again donating to sponsoring drivers. So join the PTM posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. They are Aaron Bearden, Robert Keplinger, Colton McClain, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Clear, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Rika Porter, Julie Bosley, Eddie Greer, Third Junker Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Chris Spoke, Fred Rosado, Chad Knapp, Stacey Coleman, Lisa Janata, Rick Houston, Sarah Ann Barry, Evan Roller, Brad Harrison, Matthew Bishop, Matthew Camper, Harry Bolzania, Evan Jones, Les Miller, and Jumpy Bob. Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're going to bring on the co-host of the PTM Podcast Studio in the North Carolina office, Pre-game engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Skew! Let's go.
Let's do this thing, man. Excited to be back on a Tuesday. Can you believe it's September already? I mean, September 1st.
Can you kindly shut the bleep up?
Right? It's. I mean, I know everybody's saying it, but you know, we went into quarantine in March, like in the spring, in early spring. It was pretty much winter in Atlanta, and now it's it's knocking on the door of fall. And, I don't know what happened. So,
and football starts this weekend.
So I was talking last week about the Facebook reminders that we get. And so the one that I got for, 3 years ago or whatever it was, that was when me and you were on the field when they ran out for the opening game at Georgia Tech. And so we got to stand on the field. We were both like, just classic Sherwin and Rusty style. We were both like, I think we're not supposed to be here. Like, I don't think that we're supposed to still be down right now, but nobody told us to leave yet. So, that's on them at this point.
So now you know, Mac, exactly the way we treat media passes in NASCAR. It's you go places until you find somewhere where they tell you to get the hell out.
That's right.
I think
and really we only found one of those. Or I should say Rusty found one of those. Yeah. Don't ask for permission, beg for forgiveness.
Well, with that, we are going to bring on our guest tonight, social media and public relations manager for Front Row Motorsports on Twitter at TrackMac. It's Mac MacLeod. What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. Appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Oh, same here. I know we tried to have it last week. I ended up falling ill, and like we talked about on last podcast, you're not exactly allowed to be sick during COVID because then everybody treats you like a leper or something.
Yeah. You walk in the grocery store and you have the littlest tickle in your throat or cough, and everyone in that aisle is immediately gone, and you're the only one standing there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to cough. You're not allowed to sneeze. You're not allowed to say, I feel like I'm burning up or I have a fever, especially right now.
No kidding. Well, Mac, before we get too deep, we start the show off the same way every time. What are you drinking tonight?
So I'm drinking an ice cold, refreshing Coca-Cola.
Oh, my man. Representing Atlanta.
They're not paying me for this advertisement yet, but hopefully sometime soon they are. So let me go get one quick drink in here quick.
And the label is out and everything. It's looking perfect. Sherwin, what you got tonight?
I have got a hotel cup of red wine. Why not?
I like the new digs. I can follow along with the Braves game behind you now. Looks like, are we playing the Red Sox? Is that right? Interleague?
Yes.
Not interleague.
Sure are.
That's funny. So anyway, let's see here. So I got me just before this. Now after this, I'm gonna go start pouring the nightcaps. But I went with a big old glass of water. I would say my voice was a little scratchy, but once again, we're not allowed to say that right now. So I'll just say I wanted some water. Right. I knew we were going to be talking quite a bit. So with that, Mac, let's start with you. Social media, public relations manager. Tell us how you got into that deal.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a long story. So I'll kind of kick it back to when I was from Canada, Northern Ontario, Blind River, shout out. A little small town, about 2,500 people. And going through high school, I thought I just wanted to have a career, something in business. I'd always loved business. Wanted to maybe get my MBA and try to figure out a path in Canada. But at the same time, I played a handful of sports in high school, and always loved motorsports. Parents were always watching racing. Michigan International Speedway was our closest track to home. So I was fortunate enough to go with them to a handful of races and see racing up close. And really my senior year of high school, was trying to figure out what am I going to do. Like I said, am I just going to go for business, or how do you really get into racing or into the sports world? So I just started querying it online, and was fortunate enough to find a program down here, Belmont Abbey College, that offers a degree in motorsport management. So basically the business side of racing. Kind of shocked me when I first kind of came across it. So came down, toured the school, met with some of the professors, learned about the curriculum, and really 4 years later, was fortunate enough to work with some of the folks. Eric Arneson, who works over at Fox Sports, he's the VP of Media Relations. Jeremy Levine, VP over at LFR. And really Eric Arneson was able to help me out with an internship to work with Fox Sports and NASCAR on Fox, where who you guys are very familiar with, CJ Wolver. Kind of interned under him, and was fortunate enough to learn a lot of things about Photoshop, social media, building graphics, posting content, all of that kind of fun stuff. So he really took me to the racetrack for the first time working within the sport, more as, like I said, as an intern, kind of shadowing him a lot. But we went to a handful of races together, Martinsville, down to Miami, which I'll touch on later and share a couple fun stories from that trip down to the championship. But really just, like I said, that program at Belmont Abbey allowed me to network and meet a lot of cool folks in the sport. And then kind of combined with everything that CJ was able to teach me, and the folks he was able to introduce me to, getting ready to graduate college. I was fortunate enough to kind of get reached out to Front Row Motorsports and got an email back for an interview. And yeah, everything kind of worked out. Started doing social media with the team. Then about a year later, was able to transition into a bit of a hybrid role, doing both social media and PR. So it was a lot at first. Wear a couple different hats, but wouldn't trade it. Love it. Absolutely love what I do.
That's awesome. I think we make fun of some folks right now that maybe kids and stuff that they're always on. I don't even know what they're on anymore. I would say Facebook, but I guess that's not really all that popular amongst folks now. But it's like, what are you going to do with yourself? And, well, I'm going to do this for a living. No, it's impossible or whatever. So being able to actually, translate that into real world and provide value using it is, it's a mystery to me, because that is not my thing. So it's cool to see that. What's the day-to-day like for that? Like, I wake up and I don't know, me and Sherwin are both kind of in one facet or another in engineering, and so it's almost easy. Like, okay, you wake up, you have your work items that need done, or the fires that need putting out. You go put out the fires, you do the work items, and you go home. And so, you wake up and like, okay, as the social media manager, like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I guess that's me going on the creative side of like, I don't know how to be creative.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily, it's the same routine every day waking up and going into the race shop. It varies a lot, with depending on what partners we have on the race car, what their industry focuses on, and whatnot, really trying to come up with from the social media side of it, right, content that's gonna fit with their brand, their age demographics, that they're really trying to look to promote, right? So someone like carparts.com trying to target the automotive industry, we wouldn't necessarily I wouldn't be using the same plan as for someone who is a good example. Loves Travel Stops. Their big partner of theirs is the logistics and trucking companies, right? So trying to get really specific in how you craft things can probably be one of the toughest things, and trying not to be repetitive week in, week out, right? Always trying to figure out, and I will say NASCAR, I think, does a really good job right now, and that's something that I need to do a better job is if you follow them on Instagram or anything like that, is you're seeing a lot of these SpongeBob maybe video posts and stuff like that are coming up, and you see a ton of comments of people on Twitter that are saying like, man, whoever's running their social media channels, like they're great. We need more of this content. They deserve a raise. And I'm over here like, I understand it, but it's been years since I've ever turned on SpongeBob. So trying to go back and do a lot of that, there's a lot of times you're just sitting at home and trying to watch stuff like that to understand if something happens on track, especially with your team or something like that, where you can quickly turn it around and try to clip something funny that other people might understand. So, trying to say more of a day-to-day working environment, get to the office usually around 9 a.m. Early in the week, we're debriefing with a marketing meeting, talking about the race weekend that just happened, discussing how things went, and then looking ahead to the upcoming week. All right, what do we have going on? Who's on the car? Social media plans, building out the calendars, building race advances, press releases, usually done well in advance so that there's time to send those out to the partners and have them approved. But, early in the week, it's just making sure everything's kind of scheduled and going as planned. And then come the race, you hope you do well on track, and then hope to build that up the following week as well. And really talk about, if it's a good weekend, keep talking about it. If not, time to focus on the next one. So, yeah.
I was stalking the Twitter handle there, and I saw that earlier today, Kicking the Tires put out a piece with you, and that was a really cool read, and recommend everybody go check that out at Track Mac on Twitter, and he's got that posted. What was I going to say about that? It was it was what on the chat wall there, Matthew Todd said social media is how we get a large percentage of our news, and they were talking about that in that article, that there's different ways to get the news. There's the wire, there's being at the track or being at the event themselves, and then they attributed quite a bit of it to folks like you, giving the word about what's going on, and a lot of times that's the first place you're going to hear something. So crafting that message, I imagine, is a much larger issue or larger work item than I'm some people might think.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I would say, that was probably one of the things I didn't take into consideration nearly as much when I first stepped into the role, until I really had to do it. So being live, the first race I went to with Front Row was at Daytona. It was the Coke Zero Sugar 400 in 2018. And I kind of jumped right in to help do some of the social media and all of the, the live tweeting. And that was one of the things I learned right away, is if you don't know exactly what came out of the driver's mouth, the crew chief, or the spotter's mouth, don't necessarily tweet it. Michael McDowell, who I work closely with, that was a piece of advice that he gave me, is when in doubt, do without, because the last thing you want to do is put the wrong words, especially when there's no edit buttons on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Putting the wrong words in someone's mouth, or how the car is handling, or something like that. Crew chiefs sometimes, they don't like that too much when you're saying that the car is handling a certain way when it really isn't. So trying to make sure that you're factual, and that anyone else that sees that and might pick it up, that they're sharing news that's real and not fake news. So it is crucial. So yeah.
So I think recently y'all made some pretty big headlines with the whole McDowell Bubba bumper auction deal. What was that like behind the scenes?
Craziness. So obviously right now, PR reps and whatnot, we're not traveling to the racetrack, so we're not there live. So I'm sitting on the couch here, watching the race and working it from my laptop, and you see everything that goes down, and then I'm, of course, live tweeting the race and saying what's going on, and then you just start seeing all the notifications coming in, Twitter feed just blowing up, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that was the highest trending thing that evening, right? Was all of the on track stuff going on. So that was a lot. It was for about a good week, but I think they were able to, both Michael and Bubba and carparts.com, one of our partners, coming on, they were really able to turn it kind of into a lot more of a positive light, and raise a lot of good money for a lot of awesome people. So it was, I think, a really good positive out of a situation that at first was pretty little bit more negative and a little more touch and go for sure.
Yeah, yeah. That had to be pretty fun putting that together by the end of it, and really, and that's another one that the way I learned about it was through social media, and that's the way it was being that it was that you were keeping up to date with how things are going on that whole thing from starting with we'll say the negative side of it, and then all the way through everything else, and the way that propagated through the social media channels was really cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it is funny. You see a lot of the fan comments in the very beginning, and man, they are so passionate about their drivers, right? Whether you're Team McDowell, Team Wallace, whatever it might be. And then by the end, it's the storm's finally kind of settled and simmered, and all the social media critics are happy again and love both drivers. So, yeah.
So another thing that y'all are doing right now is this whole or had done the Death Wish Coffee and going through the Thank a Trucker campaign. So we'll do that with our old buddy Freddie there, Sherwin.
Yeah, Freddie and a couple other guys too. I've noticed they got a little tweet family of truckers as they go across this great country.
That's right. So Fred Rosado, thank you, and tell us about that campaign.
It's that was kind of we had originally kind of created the campaign, but there's only so much you can do without having a lot of great support, and thankfully Death Wish Coffee was able to come on and really bring a lot of not only just cool gifts but ideas to kind of revamp the campaign. And they're giving away a ton of awesome cash prizes, as well as their paint scheme for Martinsville. If you go online to teamfrm.com/thank-a-trucker, you have the chance you can nominate a trucker, professional truck driver in the U.S. that you might know personally and think is deserving to potentially be recognized on a race car. And yeah, I mean, right now with all the craziness going on in the world, especially when COVID, first started, a lot of these smaller communities, I mean, even bigger cities, you try to go into a grocery store and get a lot of things. I mean, you're sold out. So we rely so heavily on truckers to just be able to bring those goods, not even to just grocery stores, but to hospitals and, all sorts of necessary supplies that we need. It's thanks to them that shelves are able to stay stocked. So it's a really cool initiative to be a part of. I'm excited to kind of see. We have a couple surprises with whoever we decide for the winner, which I can't really give away right now. But excited to kind of see that campaign grow a little bit more and to kind of choose a winner here closer to Martinsville.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun. I'll look forward to the surprises. Let's talk about on the PTM podcast week to week, we're just chatting it up like this. We're talking about major headlines and stuff. I mean, we're not digging too deep into the field, but I saw that, and I mean, you're way more in tune with what's going on in the social media world than even I am. And I saw on Reddit today. I don't know if you follow the our NASCAR group, but somebody had posted on there, hey, how about a quick shout out to Michael McDowell? And I was like, wow, this is perfect for to talk about on the show tonight. And he was showing the stats that this year, average finish of 19th, average start of 24th, which is a complete turnaround from the last couple of years, where I think those numbers were sort of not switched, but not in the positive direction. Still 5 spots better than the last 2 years. Only 1 DNF in 26 races so far this year. I mean, the success is pretty astounding right now. And what Michael McDowell's doing in that car. So wanted to talk about that a little bit and just see are the headlines kind of writing themselves right now, and it's easy stuff, or just keep the momentum going.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool. Michael came over to Front Row at the start of 2018, just like myself. I started in 2018, so it's really been cool to kind of come in the same year together and kind of watch him grow from the very start. And I owe a lot of credit to Michael for helping me get into this kind of PR hybrid position. He was really the one that when our head of communications transferred over to a different team, just having the conversation with him saying that this is something I'd like to try out. He was the one that kind of went to bat for me a little bit and said, I'll give you a shot, to try and do my PR. So it's really cool to see him getting the results that he is. Everyone on that 38 team, everyone at Front Row Motorsports is they're firing on all cylinders. It's been the probably the funnest year to work with. Just exactly that, seeing the headlines every week and seeing your driver recognized. Michael's very, very passionate about his racing career. Anything he can do to look over data, anything he can do for an interview. It doesn't matter if you're 18 years old sending an email saying, hey, I'm trying to start out in journalism, and do you have 5-10 minutes to talk with me for a YouTube channel or something like that? He's willing to do it. So just seeing all the aspects of, he's not just there focused to race. It's really, he understands everything about the sport and a lot of the relationships and whatnot. It's been really cool to see him getting, I think, the success that he really deserves this year. And there's still 10 races left. So right. Hopefully, we can still cap it off with a win. That would be, I think a great finish to this season. But yeah, just the stats that are being put up this year have been something really cool. I think that, going to no practices and really unloading, whereas a lot of teams, they just have the employee numbers that we don't. So you come to a racetrack on a weekend and have the opportunity to go through 2 practice sessions, and you don't not only have, your engineers there at the track, you have the engineers back at the shop that are able to also look over 2x, 3x, 4x as much data as we are in a single race weekend, right? So it just gives that opportunity for those bigger teams with bigger budgets to really expand, where, as us, we understand coming to the racetrack, it's a lot more feel and kind of figuring it out from there. And we've been able to, I think, really capitalize on that. So it's been something cool. I know there's been talk, people wonder about next year. Are we going to see practices? Are we not? I think it's certainly been something that's benefited our team. One thing I would love is maybe the way we start the races to change. How that is, I don't know the answer. It sounds like just like when you go on Sirius XM, you hear everyone say that something needs to change and they don't know the answer. I fall into that same category. I would love to see us being able to have the opportunity to start up, whether it is on the pole or in the top 10 more often. But yeah, it's been a great year, and it's been a lot of fun.
What so you'd mentioned going out there and really fighting for the W for the rest of the season. What are some of the tracks that Front Row's looking at as kind of like the licking the chops, like, hey, this is where we can go and be somebody and make a splash?
Well, I think it's known to everybody. Talladega is definitely circled on our calendar. David Reagan got us, our first win, a 1-2 finish with David Gilliland pushing him in 2013. So plate tracks are definitely places where we strive. Road courses, especially for Michael, top 10 at the Daytona road course this year. That's his background is growing up through go-karts, and then the road to IndyCar and whatnot, sports car racing. That's his niche. So certainly plate tracks and that, but this season has just been a complete, I want to say, wash. Tracks that we might not have done as well at in the past, we've done a lot better. We had John Hunter had a great run at Darlington last time we were there, right at when we came back from the pause from COVID. So who knows? It'd be great to maybe be in contention, save our equipment well, and be have a good car at the end to maybe pull off a kind of a sneak win this weekend. I think it's really hard to say right now. Like I said, it's everyth's been so crazy this year. It's been it's been a lot of fun.
What was that?
Hey, Rusty.
Yeah.
Where were we for that David Reagan, David Gilliland 1-2 finish? I can't remember.
We were out of beer.
Right.
After 8 hours at the track at Talladega.
We were fresh out of beer, that's for sure.
We brought about 4.5 hours worth of beer, and then had to go raid the local stand there for the rest of theirs. Oh man, what a crazy weekend that was. Speaking of crazy weekends, What was it like with that 10th place finish? I mean, that had to be a not just breath of fresh air, but like, I mean, going crazy this whole week or that whole week.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, you're referring back to 2013?
Oh, no. Talking about the 10th place finish there at the road course.
Or the 10th place here at the road course. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, that's not the first top 10 we've had this season, right? So we know we can be there at the end. I mean, we've shown that we're a lot more competitive this year. So it was definitely a breath of fresh air. Do we wish we were a little bit more, especially when we know that this is one of those dates that's circled and we think we can, put it in victory lane? Certainly. But yeah, it's always great. Anytime you can get a top 10. I mean, even for us, a top 15 is awesome, right? I mean, coming from last season when our goals are top 20s to be top 25 in points and really change that up this year. And, now we're looking at top 15s, but if not one car, both cars almost every weekend. So, yeah, top 10s are great, but I think you always want more, right? You always want on a W. So, yeah, no, but it was great. And hopefully, we can capitalize on that next year. And, I mean, Michael's had so much experience on that road course. The front shed chicane. I mean, it's a little bit different. Adds a little bit. I mean, a stock car is a lot heavier, right? So braking and your acceleration zones are a lot different. But it was still cool to see, especially like I said, not being able to be at the track. And you rely a lot on TV time to see the car and whatnot. I mean, there was so much coverage. It was great to almost just sit back and be a bit more of a fan and actually cheer on your driver from the couch was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so it's time. Last week we were supposed to talk. Of course, I came down with whatever it was. Got over that. We're all good to go. We had to postpone. You had tweeted out. You know what? That's all right. Gives me a little bit more time to perfect my CJ Walliver Homestead story. So we are in anticipation of hearing this one.
Oh boy! All right, pressure's on. So yeah, going back to like I said, I first got to really know CJ in 2017 when I was an intern over at NASCAR on Fox, and at the end of the season, it was kind of a really last minute. Hey Mac, do you want to go down to the championship for the championship weekend and we'll cover it? Yeah, absolutely, CJ. Well, here's the only catch. We're gonna drive down from Charlotte. Okay. Pull out Google Maps. You look at it and it's like, oh, okay, that's a couple more hours than I originally anticipated it being. But in doing that, we became really good friends because you're in a car together for 10 plus hours driving down there. And I mean, all you have to do is really talk to one another. So since then, I've been very fortunate to get really close to CJ. But so we were actually talking about this a little while ago because I wanted to make sure that I had the story straight because it's been a few years. But it was the night after the truck race. And we had covered the race. And by the time we left the media center, it had to have been close to 2 a.m. And cup practice was the next morning. So, we're leaving the track at 2, get back in the rental car. We're driving back to the hotel. We're getting close to the hotel. I mean, it's probably a good 30-so-minute drive home. So it's already 2:30. We're both yawning, just dead. Don't want to talk to one another, see each other all day, just ready to hit the hay, wake up next morning and do it again. Well, we get within probably 5-10 miles of the hotel, and there's a roadblock, and our exit's closed. I'm like, all right, well, this is weird, whatever. Waze, Google Maps, whatever we're using, we'll just try to find the next route, go around. So we get off on another exit, get a little closer to the hotel. Again, 5-10 miles out, roadblock, can't get by. Like, what the heck? So finally, this goes on for at least another hour, trying to figure out. There's just roadblocks. There's police cars everywhere. But we're like, all right, it's 3 a.m. It's kind of weird. We're just going to keep driving around. We'll figure whatever's going on. There's got to be a route to get to our hotel. So finally, this is going on like an hour and a half. And we're like, man, are we ever going to get to bed? It's like almost 4 o'clock now in the morning. We have to be up at like 6:30 to start heading back to the track. Oh, yeah, just absolutely drained. So finally, we go up to a couple police officers that have the one roadblock. And we're like, hey, what's going on? And they say, yeah, there's a gas leak. So we have to, block off everything within a 5-10 mile radius in case of any emergencies. And we're like, are you kidding me? How long is this going to be? Oh, it could be till sometime in the morning, 7-8 a.m. It's going to be blocked off. But Meanwhile, everyone's still out in their houses, in the hotel room. None of that's evacuated. It's just right around the perimeter. Once you cross that, you're fine. But right where the gas, I guess, lines run. So finally, he gets back in the car, whatever, explains it to me, and we're sitting there for a second. We're like, all right, what could we do? So if you guys don't know, CJ's diabetic, which I asked his approval before sharing any personal stuff. And so he had the idea, genius. He says, all right, well, let's go around to the next roadblock because I just spoke to these police officers. Mac, just keep your head down a little bit and act like you're not feeling the greatest. He's like, okay, just go with it. Just keep your head down. Don't say much. I'm like, okay. So we go up to the next one. He acts all frantic. He's like, hey, guys, we just got back from the racetrack, and I think his blood sugar's low and whatnot. He has his kid up in the room in the fridge, but he just doesn't have it on him. We need to get back to the hotel. 2 seconds later, dispatch to the radio, hey, let this car through, good to go. 5 a.m., finally crawl into bed, wake up an hour later. It was like, thankful for CJ for the last minute kind of idea or thought, because if not, I think we would have been roughing it in the car going to the track the next morning with some pretty bad bedhead and just have to roll with it.
Man, so. I don't know what's better, just pulling the all-nighter or getting the 1 hour there, because I don't know, I could be pretty upset that next morning.
Gee, Rusty, how would you have experience with that?
No telling. Yeah.
No, it was definitely a long day, especially then you're covering the Xfinity race and finale then, and then still being in the media center till 2 in the morning or so. But thankfully, we were able to get back to our hotel room Saturday night and get a bit better of a sleep before the Cup race on Sunday. But that was a story that we still kind of joke about a little bit. That was, it was just, it was a cool, I guess, experience to share with him, especially after a 10-hour drive down there and then almost a full 24-hour day at the track and whatnot. So it was, we've had a lot of fun. Certainly, appreciate everything that CJ's done for me and my career and introduced me to you folks. So he's continuing to still help me out along the way. So.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah, right. And he's a mean karaoke singer. So if you haven't had that chance yet.
That man loves him some karaoke.
we got to figure out how to materialize a WWE karaoke belt.
Yeah, I think he'll just be walking around Talladega with it for the whole weekend. It won't matter. With that, gentlemen, let's hit the report card. Oh, there's that. I probably just blew out everybody's speakers for the second week in a row. But let's talk about some NASCAR. First period, Byron at Daytona. Sherwin, heck of a place to get your first win, huh?
No kidding. I mean, it doesn't get any more NASCAR than that, I guess.
Right, and you were saying last week that HMS says we're going to win this race, and sure enough, there's Byron in first. I mean, after the crash fest, classic Daytona stuff, survival and getting to the finish line, but and Chase running second, so that was pretty spot on there with the either prediction or clairvoyance, whatever you want to call it.
Just good old fashioned confidence.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a stat somewhere that said Chad Knaus has yet to miss a NASCAR playoff since he's been in the sport. I could have sworn I read that this week, and I thought that was something that's incredible. That's a pretty cool thing to have on your resume. I think that'd be pretty close to the top right there. So that was cool to definitely see Byron and that whole 24 bunch. Excuse me. I was obviously in my mind I was hoping the 34 or the 38 was going to victory lane. So, but no, it was definitely cool to see the wind. I think get put back a little bit in the sales of the 24 bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I can't be surprised at all that Chad Knaus, has made every playoff that has ever existed. He's what was I going to say about him? You were saying something on the resume. I think he precedes his resume at this point. I wonder if guys like that actually keep up with any sort of resume or LinkedIn, like he's updating his LinkedIn profile, like erase 6 championships, put in 7.
I'm sure he's got somebody to do that for him.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's
got a guy. He got a wiki guy.
So there's great shame upon me and my family this week because I've been on the Jimmy Johnson train all the way up until this time last week, or even Thursday when we did the show. I said I'm not counting out Jimmy Johnson. I'm saying he's in, and all day it looked like he was in. He gets shuffled back and then into a wreck, and now he's out. But I don't know when I've seen some articles and some tweets and stuff that are very reflective of his career and all that stuff. I'm not sure that we've seen the last yet, just in terms of this year, and certainly not in NASCAR or racing in general. Sherwin, we've talked about this. He's wanting to race everything from here on in.
Yeah, pretty much everything, including Cup.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll look forward to that for sure. But I think that was my big surprise, if you will, that Jimmy, in the end, even that it's Daytona, even that it can be random and all that, the fact that he wasn't quite able to make it, I don't know, a little disappointed, but is what it is.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think everyone, of course, wanted to see that eighth championship, right? I mean, it's one of those things. It's going to be a long time before you see someone else get to that mark, if ever again. So that was, definitely something that I was pulling for. But yeah, to your point, Rusty, I definitely don't think he's anywhere close to being done. They have definitely, that 48 team, I think, has stepped up a lot this season, especially later. And I really do think that I think he's going to get a win before the end, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'd be cool. I mean, the next best thing to not having a chance to compete for number 8 to sort of set yourself apart, it might just be not being in the playoffs at all. Jimmy might get more attention this way because there's not all of that, uber stressful moments during the week and on the weekend where you're much more worried about qualifying for the next round of the playoffs. Or Jimmy can just kind of just show up, stuff out. I'm gonna see if I can beat you, cats.
Yeah. So let's round table this next one, and I'll start with you, Sherwin. I saw an article on thecomeback.com, pretty much campaigning for NASCAR's newest tradition needs to have the regular season finale at Daytona. We'll miss it on July 4th, but the amount of drama and everything else kind of the way I see it, and maybe I'm showing my hand a little bit here, but as a last chance race, no holds barred, anything goes, anything can and will happen, and what a great way to end the season. I guess the flip side of that is who knows what can happen. It's bonkers, and plate racing at Daytona, or what I call plate racing at this point, or super speedway racing is wacko. So. Where do you stand? What do you think? Do this again, or let's hang that one up?
Well, I don't know that I'm pulled in either direction more significantly than the other. There's certainly an added level of drama to go into that kind of racetrack to end your season. And, and there's going to be 3 or 4 guys usually every year that are, monkeying around for 1 or 2 positions. And, of course, add the element of chance. I kind of would rather see us rotate that last race. Just like I'd like to see us rotate the last race of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how much flexibility can be built in, but NASCAR's already discovered they can be as flexible as they want to be, and we're still going to be here as long as we get some racing. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind Daytona and Darlington flip-flopping. How about Darlington to close the season?
Mm.
We hadn't really seen that before because usually it has been Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Because we used to go all the way almost to Thanksgiving, and this year we're ending in this, the same weekend as the Masters, isn't it? Whoops.
That's a weird thing to think about.
Well, it's usually a night race, or at least it was for most of the time. It was at Homestead. So, and Phoenix, we know, has lights. That's been a big part of what they do. So, I mean, the obvious thing you do there is make that a Sunday night race, and that way you kind of give yourself some wiggle room to get out away from the Masters.
Mm-hmm. So, Mac, what do you think? Keep doing this, or switch it up, or what do you think about it?
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I think we should go to a road course. What about that? Finish it on a road course. CTMP maybe up in Canada. I might be a little bit biased, only Canadian here on the show. I'd love to see the Cup Series go there, but no. I think switching it up, I think would be something cool and add a little bit new excitement every year. It's always something that you're not knowing what exactly to expect for a finale. Whereas you have the same thing. You kind of, I mean, at any track, who the folks are that are most likely gonna be more dominant than others. But I mean, I'm not kidding. I think a road course is something that you don't really hear a whole lot of people talk about. I'm a kind of a big fan of them. I wish there was more of them on the circuit. I think it would be cool to put something like that. But at the same time, yeah, Daytona. It's one of those things where if you can get a win, just as much as it, man, that's tough. I don't know. That's a tough thing to think about because I mean, you might be deserving of it. You get caught up in an early wreck. That's not your fault. It's not anything you might have done driver error. It's just wrong place, wrong time, and then that's it for your chance at it. So I'm tough. Yeah, I'm torn. I'm on the fence.
Yeah. Well, here's what's crazy. Here's the stat that can't be a stat, right? This whole thing, the quarantine and rejiggering the entire season started in March. March was 6 months ago. It's about to be 6 months, once we get into mid-September. Well, 5 months from now is February, meaning, who knows between now and then what's going to happen, but we might be having to fill it up again here in getting, different types of tracks and getting setting the schedule and the distancing and all that stuff, and just have to do it again here just in a few months. I saw that Jeff Gluck was reporting about Steve Phelps having a phone call with, I guess, a lot of the media and saying things like, we might be releasing the schedule kind of in batches again. We might, we're definitely looking at and anticipating new tracks that we haven't been to in a long time, besides even Nashville, but possibly having other tracks in there. And then at the same time saying Daytona, again, could be possible, and doing it like we did this year where we have two circle tracks and one road course. So everything seems to be up in the air again for 2021. And Sherwin, the way you would put it about, NASCAR has proven that they can make, these type of decisions and can make some changes, and that the fans will be right there with them.
Yeah, 100%. So far, I mean, if fans could have been in the stands all these races that we've had, they'd have been there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, and that's what kills me. All the things that imagine if this were a normal season and they were announcing all this stuff as we went along, how many of these races would me and you be staring at each other going, golly, dude, they're going to be racing Dover twice. We got to go. They're going to be racing Michigan twice. We got to go. We got, it's the hottest tickets out there to be able to do that, and maybe that's something they can see. If we build anticipation throughout the season, it could help.
Yes.
I don't know. Mac, does that make your job just impossible?
I think the road crew guys are, if they heard that, it's a lot of work for those guys to prep not only just one primary cup car, but have two ready to go for a race weekend turnaround sometimes, especially if it's back to back like that, or, even having say a Wednesday race and then a Sunday race. You're trying to work on two different primaries for two different types of tracks, or, two primaries for the same track, whether it's a doubleheader weekend, because I mean, you rely that your one primary is going to be great for both, but on the odd chance that it's not, you want a backup that's just as good and just as dialed in, or at least, a close second. So it's a lot of work for the crew guys. I know that. But, I mean, I'm here for them. I love racing, and I honestly have enjoyed the Wednesday races too. So the midweek stuff, I don't know what you guys have thought about those and whatnot, but it feels like it's, it's a little bit more continuous. waiting Sunday to Sunday sometimes is, I love it. I love sitting down and throwing the TV on and watching the guys get ready to go. And, especially when we're pulling off top 10s and top 15s and stuff, it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, I want to know what you guys think about that too, about the these 2 a week kind of deals that we were doing early in COVID.
Yeah, I think for me, the Wednesday races are a huge hit in terms of viewership, my viewership, if you will, and satiating my midweek need for some sort of cars on track, especially when we're not doing any other types of, call it parade laps or practice or anything else. I think what NASCAR would have to figure out is how to put those races in areas where there is a large market for walk-up type of fandom. So, something that you can just kind of decide. We do this in Atlanta. Like, hey, you want to go to the Braves game on Wednesday? Yeah, let's go to the Braves game. Yeah, that sounds fun. And after work, you get off, you go to the Braves game. Well, we can't really. We could. But we can't really do that with Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's for me, it's probably going to take me an hour to get there, maybe more in traffic. It's a take the whole day off kind of situation. Where are some markets where they can do that? Well, they could do that in Richmond. They could do that in Daytona. They could. There's a handful of others. Those are the two that I've been to and know where they are situated in relation.
Texas.
Texas. Places where they're situated within somewhere like that. Vegas is a possibility there, even though it's a little bit on the outskirts. But, it's right there. It's doable. And Vegas especially because, the number of people who are already there vacationing or whatever else, it doesn't matter if it's a Wednesday, Sunday, or any other day ending in a Y. So, I think if they can figure that part out, then, they get butts in seats and they get eyeballs on the TV. Sherwin, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm in huge support of the weekday races in the summertime. Granted, we had this weird environment that we played with this idea in, with basically no repercussion. Mm-hmm. The only thing that was going to happen was going to be positive. At least that's my perspective. I think it's something that you definitely should do in order to shorten the schedule, which we've talked about multiple times about trying to get away from those really important college football. And when the NFL really we start to figure out who the playoff teams are, people start watching more. That's just reality. So if we can get away from that, be done by homecoming at the latest, I think that's a good place for us to be, which means we're going to have to take advantage of the idea of running a Wednesday or a Thursday race or a Sunday, Monday or something in markets that support it. Like, where could you do that makes an awful lot of sense? Well, they already talked about Nashville. They talked about it again today with Steve Phelps. Okay, so it's summertime, right? You got your one big vacation you're taking with the kids. You haul it to Bristol for a Wednesday or Thursday night race. You camp 2 nights, and you pick it up, and you drive 2.5 hours to Nashville and do the same thing all over again.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I'll make that road trip.
Atlanta, Talladega.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And car logistics wouldn't be that big of a deal because proximity to Charlotte's really not that bad, especially for an over-the-road trucker. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a half-day trip.
Yeah. I think it's
I think doesn't even have to buzz in on his logbook. He'll be already taking a nap in the parking lot, waiting for Mac and the rest of his buddies to show up.
That's right. Let's move on to the playoffs. Sherwin, I think I have figured out that there are plenty of diehard old school fans who want the point system as much as when did I start talking about playoffs? Like 10 races ago, and now here I'm excited about it. Here I'm a convert. I like the playoffs. Call it conjured, whatever you want to call it. It gives me something to think about, to talk about, and something to be excited for. So what can I say? Love the playoffs. Y'all going to hear me talking about it. But no change in the overall who's in, who's out. Here's a surprise to me, looking at playoff points at this point. Clint Boyer is ahead of both Kyle and Kurt at this point. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, it is. But you know what? Clint has quietly finished between like 7th and 13th since we came back to racing. Mm-hmm. He hadn't led a lot of laps, so we're not talking about Clint out front very much. But he's just back there, top 10 and everybody to death.
Yeah. So what do we think? So looking at kind of the bottom of the field in terms of the folks who got in, what do we think of like Matt D's chances?
We? Or what do I think?
What do y'all think?
Yeah. I think the top of the alphabet is going to claim a lot of victims in the first round.
Yeah.
So you got, which ones you got in there? Cole Custer, William Byron, Clint Boyer, Eric Almirola, Matt DiBenedetto. That's the crowd I think is going to be the most cannibalized.
Sure. Specifically, and maybe I'm teeing this one up for myself. Matt D has proven, has proven a lot of success on the short tracks, and I could see him, doing something or just making it in on points, if you will, to the next round. We'll see after that because we get into some bigger stuff. But in this first round, I like Matt D's chances. I think, to your point, I like the way you put it with the top of the alphabet, folks. I think Eric Almirola has, although he's been, obviously finishing well, he's in the playoffs. But I think this is somewhere where he's going to have to work a little harder to remain in after this round. Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's certainly an added bit of pressure, right, with Matt DiBenedetto. I mean, this is a new team he's with, certainly extremely competitive equipment. I mean, we've all seen the talent that he has and the capabilities. And yeah, I think he's ran kind of a little bit under the radar too. Maybe not as much as Clint Boyer, but I don't think that maybe sometimes he's right there, but we don't necessarily say it nearly as much. That he's been in contention and been in positions. Whether there might have been something that happened that's not his. Potentially his fault or whatnot. But yeah, I think, with Bristol, I think that's going to favor him very well. Last year, obviously, I mean, that was a heartbreak. Everyone wanted to see him pull it out over Denny. And I'd love to see him do that this year. So no, I think speaking just for Matt, I think we're going to see him go on at least to the round of 8. I have this feeling. I don't know. That's, Maybe some people want to say that's thinking a little bit much for him making the playoffs this year, and that's it's already been a very successful year. But I think at least a round of 8.
That's awesome. I love seeing those kind of predictions.
I know.
Here's another big wrinkle in this whole thing. This same talk with Steve Phelps saying that the COVID procedures are going to stay the same. So if you're testing positive, you're out 0 points. It feels like the pressure is mounted for these guys in the playoffs to, especially take care of themselves and isolate and everything else over the next over the course of the next 10 races. I mean, imagine even getting to the final race in Phoenix. Now, who knows what under the table stuff might happen then? But you end up with a positive test, and now you just can't even race the last race. That could throw a huge wrinkle in everything. So it's that's an added pressure for all this stuff. I feel like, Sherwin.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I already said my piece, so to speak, but yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I'd like for Mac to be happy. I'd like for Matt D to snake his way on through there and make some noise for himself, if nothing else.
I was talking about the COVID procedures. That's what I was.
Oh, sorry. I took a nap, I guess.
Into those nightcaps, huh?
Well,
I see that thumb going up and covering the screen. How many are we into now?
Oh no, I got the same glass. Same one.
Love it. So yeah. Anyway, just the added pressure there is all I was bringing up for folks to really be careful in what's going on, because it can really affect what happens coming up. So anyway. We got silly season stuff already. William Byron signed through 2022. I guess no real surprise there, but a big cherry on top of the weekend. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. And the big one that I keep seeing, this is one of those. This is not Bob Pockris approved yet, by the way. So everything with a grain of salt if we ain't heard it from Bob. But folks are saying that SHR is, they got Larson on speed dial. We talked about it last week, Sherwin. That could be an interesting development, huh?
Yeah, well, especially if I look one line down in the notes, and we can. It was probably hard to figure out which order to put those in.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, Zippy just all but said, was kind of snarky with somebody about, would you try to rearrange your driver lineup to get a Larson? And Zippy was like, who wouldn't? And that's like the perfect response, really. I mean,
yeah. Mac, are you hearing anything in the hallways?
I hear a lot of things, but again, until Bob Pockris tweets it, it's all just rumors. So
Mac knows. And Sherwin, you just mentioned it, Almirola, or you hinted at it. Almirola extending for a year with SHR, and all the headlines are saying that he extends with SHR and Smithfield. I think that goes to show how much a sponsor is tied into these deals, and whether or not they happen. So very interesting there.
Well, and Eric's had a really good year too. If Clint's been top 10ing everybody to death, Eric's been top 7ing everybody to death.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's talk about throwbacks. Going to Darlington coming up. There's a lot of standouts, but Mac, why don't you give us a lowdown from the Front Row team?
Yeah, so it was exciting this week. We announced one of our partners, Sitgard. They're part of the family of Citgo Petroleum, and so I mean Citgo has been in the sport for years and years, and so John Hunter Nemechek, we announced this week that he'll be throwing back to Elliott Sadler's rookie season 1999, his old Citgo paint scheme. So it's pretty cool. It looks great. The red definitely pops. It'll be easy to spot on track. Yeah, they've been a great partner of ours. Awesome folks to work with. So it's been really exciting. I'm looking forward to. I mean, just the whole weekend in general. I'm bummed. This is definitely a fun one to be at the track for. Everyone dresses up a little bit retro. The old throwback hats come out. Seeing the old paint schemes. It's a cool weekend to be a part of. So I'm definitely bummed for to be on the couch this weekend and working the race from home. Certainly wish I could be there. But to another point, Jimmy Johnson's paint scheme for this weekend. Can we take a second to talk about that? I think that's I think that's one of the coolest schemes that I've ever seen, and I certainly am curious to see how many die casts go up for that, or if they're not already sold out, because that thing is hot.
Yeah,
I think they did a pre-sale because they, I would assume, figured they were probably going to get smashed.
Yeah. I don't know. So there's a whole lot of, and that's with the, if I remember right, it's kind of the Petty Blue Ally looking paint scheme, right?
It's Petty across the hood and the top and the deck lid, and it's Dale Earnhardt on the side panels.
Well, sir. Yeah. What's the number for that diecast again?
I think they're calling it #21 time.
Yeah. 777. I love it. Yeah, that's fun. So some other notables from me. Austin Dillon every year feels like he's got something really cool up his sleeve there, and that team does. Really love that one. The Junior Johnson American Ethanol Chevy. Now, I think it's easier for somebody like Austin Dillon, who has the number 3 car, to pull something out. But the fact that they keep digging, pretty deep into the files to bring this stuff out, that's really neat to me. Also, the Eric Almirola we talked about before, but the Fireball Roberts number 10 car, that's really neat. I liked looking at Hamlin's car. It's a 1973 throwback, and it was the first time that FedEx was on, and it says the words Federal Express on it. It's just funny looking to me to read that, and you have to read the whole thing. Federal Express. It sounds so funny. And then rounding it out, a couple of them. Did y'all see Blaney's?
I've not yet.
I did, but I'm drawing a blank on what it is.
It's that Maytag car, and it's really. I like the old school look of that paint scheme in that it's got the Maytag logo on the hood. It's got a few rainbow stripes, but they're not like rounded off. They're just kind of squared off, and that's it. And the rest of it is like gray or something. It's really cool looking. It really does look old school and throwbacky. So I'm a big fan of that one. And then lastly for me, Rick Ware, the Red Rooster Bud Moore mid-'80s car. A lot of these have that kind of hand-painted sort of numbering and stuff. Really cool. So anyway, that's just stuff that I was seeing that I thought was cool.
No, it's cool, and now you give me a chance to atone for the nap I took. It was me reading the Rick Ware with Red Rooster Bud Moore line that had me completely just totally distracted. I'm like,
entranced.
Was Bud Moore a ginger? I don't. And then you're like, Sherwin, and I'm like, oh,
what were we talking about? What was the last thing the teacher said?
Busted.
Our recess column here. Did y'all follow along? So this is good stuff for our social media guy here. So Mac, were you following along with the Austin Cendric the conspiracy theories and everything that were going on this week?
Yeah, a little bit. I definitely read some of the tweets that were put out and whatnot. Craziness, man.
I feel like this is one of those all publicity is good publicity in this case. For those of you who are wondering, all his merch was sold out everywhere, evidently. Like there was a run on it from somebody. And so folks took notice and they were like, wait, did he get fired? And then it sort of spiraled into an internet thing like, no, he didn't get fired. Okay, well, we got to make up other conspiracy theories. So I really liked a few of them. One of them said like aliens or like he's an alien or something. One of them said Austin Cendric is Mandela effect. Like there was never actually somebody named Austin Cendric in the whole series. And y'all made this whole thing up. So I was... So I
didn't see that one.
Yeah. Among my favorites there. So I thought the social media and PR rep in the room would appreciate those. So with that,
I think it goes back to if Bob Pockers didn't tweet it, it's not true, right? So.
Well, then you go back and you read Bob Pockers. Did Bob Pockers ever tweet about Austin Cendric? Maybe he didn't. Oh man, did he exist?
That's funny. Well, it wasn't the nuts and bolts of it was that Moneyline hadn't sponsored the car in like over a year, and they just kind of had dissolved the partnership or something.
Something they fixed the glitch.
They fixed the glitch. Yeah. No longer gets a paycheck.
Yeah.
Stapler, yes. Paycheck, no.
Gentlemen, let's go ahead and gas it up. There it is. Darlington. We've been talking about it. We know what's going on. Sherwin, last week, our picks were pretty atrocious. You picked Eric Jones, finished 35th. Brandon, the professor, lap traffic, picked Tyler Reddick, who finished 29th. And I picked Christopher Bell. And I'm sure Mac is sitting there laughing at us for our picks. And, like, dude, shouldn't you have picked, like, Hamlin, Harvick, anybody? I think we just got tired there. Christopher Bell did finish 13th. So, I've got that notch on the bedpost, if you will. But, let's talk about Darlington and who we're looking at there. And, when we have somebody who's with a team, obviously we want to pick those folks. However, I would say to you, Mac, who are the folks that you're looking at? Who's the biggest competition for you this weekend at Darlington?
Man, that's tough. Like I said, this season has been so crazy and so different without practice, right? Like I said, we had a really strong run last time. Heck, I would love to say Michael McDowell or John Hunter Nemechek. And that might just be the case. I certainly don't think you can count out Eric Jones. With everything he's got going on this season, obviously he has a lot of added pressure, and he wants to go out and get some more wins and show that he can win. He's already proven it at Darlington last year, so I certainly think he's going to be one to watch for. I also think Matt Kenseth, he has a ton of experience running Darlington. And I think, there's definitely a learning curve coming and stepping into the seat and running this new car. But I think it would be cool. And I don't think to count Matt Kenseth out by any means this weekend. So I honestly do. I think, you're going to see Matt Kenseth in the top 10, if not in the lead this weekend. And then, I'm just going to go with Eric Jones. I think he's going to be tough to beat this weekend.
Awesome. Sherwin, besides John Hunter Nemechek and Michael McDowell, who are we looking at?
Of course. Clearly we'll give them a nod.
That's right.
I always feel the ire when I get a little too homerish, even though, I know who I'm going to be rooting for, who I think is going to win. You know what? Maybe I'm going to be that person this week that stands on the peak with the balancing wood that's going to fall off with Kyle Busch.
Ah, yeah. No kidding. It's, something's got to happen. We kept saying it and then limping our way into the playoffs and finishing behind Clint Boyer and all that stuff that we talked about before. But at some point, poop or get off the pot. That's not the exact way it's usually said, but for this thing. So yeah, totally understand that one. Not bad. So this one's tough because what are the goals for Hamlin and Harvick and the likes of the folks that are up top right now? And I'm not sure that they are at the. Obviously, the goal every week is to win. They didn't need their last 3 wins each to do it to be where they're at. But especially right now, I think it's survival. It's being smart about things, making good decisions. So I'm not sure that I would hang my hat on either of them at this point. There's folks we hadn't heard from in a little while. Folks like Logano, Chase Elliott, I think is a great pick too. I'm gonna go with Martin Truex Jr.
Look at you.
So, a few playoff folks there. So let's see here. I think that brings us to the end of ye old PETM 258. So yeah, awesome times and great having a nice Tuesday evening. Finally back to Tuesday chat. And Mac, it's been awesome having you on and everything. Why don't you tell the folks where they can find you and what's coming up next?
So you cut out on me there right at the end. Of course, it's been going great this entire time, and then right at the end it comes unstable. So sorry, you cut out there.
It's all good.
Shall it be?
Yeah, exactly right. It's at 10:15 p.m. That's when the internet shuts off, evidently. But yeah, tell the folks where they can find you, what's coming up next, and what's going on in the world of Mac.
Yeah, if you want to give me a follow, it's at TrackMac on Twitter, MacLeod on Instagram, but yeah, primarily Twitter. Just hoping right now, like I said, being from Canada and working down here in the United States, there's a lot of crazy things going on with whether it's work visas and everything like that. So I'm fortunate to be down here and working in the sport and getting to meet great folks like yourselves. We're looking forward to Darlington this weekend and hopefully be back at the track at some point this year. But at Track Mac, back at the track, I hope. But I don't know if necessarily that that will be the case. So, appreciate you guys having me on.
Awesome. Well, I know you said meeting great folks like us. I'll just call us folks. I don't know about great folks, but we're definitely folks. I'll say that. Sherwin, close us out. What's going on?
Yeah, don't want to use too many superlatives. You can find me at Pregame Engineer on Twitter and at Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram.
That's right. And y'all know where to find us. PTMpodcast.com, at PTM Podcast on the Twitter handle. As always, Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor. We can't wait to talk to y'all next week after round 1 of the playoffs there in Darlington. We will see y'all next week. Take care. There we go. That's a wrap. Gentlemen.
Foxy Lady.
Foxy Lady. It's I should let that song play out at some point. It's got like a pretty funky vibe around midway. It gets a little gets a little fun. So, yeah. So we used to have Sydney Letts. We Are NASCAR. Mac. I don't know if you know her or anything about what she does, but we're not allowed to divulge any details about it. But she has. We are no longer able to use that song, and we are very happy for her because of that. So we are testing out a new one, and she has she's told us that she needs to get together with us and develop a new one for us. So we have one in the meantime. Let's see. I'm getting this thing saved down, and then we'll get her all tied up here. So still live on the YouTuber and hanging out with the folks for the PTM After Dark. But yeah, man, appreciate you being on and everything. It's been a blast.
Yeah, I'm glad it finally worked out. You're feeling better, and we're able to make this thing happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. Like I said, everybody looking at you sideways. And I went back into work today, or no, yesterday, I guess. And it's like, are you sure you should be here? I'm like, I'm fine, guys. I am fine. Everything is fine. Jeez. So, yeah, it's a weird deal. But, yeah, appreciate that. Do you get to, keep up with CJ during the quarantine period? Do y'all, hang out any or...
No, we really haven't. And you know what? I'll be completely honest with you.
That guy's a loser.
First...
I'm just playing. I'll be honest with y'all. I really don't like him.
No, since we have when we first took a little bit of a pause from racing, and then the second we came back, it's Front Row's been fortunate to bring on a handful of new partners. And the workload and just, it's been crazy. I mean, obviously with new partners, they haven't been able to experience going to the racetrack, right? So this is all new for them. So they're relying heavily on social media and public relations, whether it's, getting Michael an interview and being able to kind of use him as the platform to really promote their brand. Because we're not able to bring them to the track and show them at track hospitality, right? They're not getting able to see the cars firsthand right up close and, understand what it's like, especially if they've never been to a race before. Mm-hmm. So my job has been so busy that I really haven't had a whole lot of time to really do anything or catch up with a whole lot of people. So it's been, fortunately, I just moved up here to Mooresville, not even 5 minutes from my race shop. Just moved into an apartment from Huntersville. I don't know how familiar both of you guys are with the area and whatnot. So, yeah, it's been a lot of work, a lot of crazy hours trying to get everything done. So no, I haven't been able to catch up with CJ a whole lot lately, but we were talking on the phone a little earlier today. So hopefully sometime in the near future we can get together. I know he's just moved to a new place, him and his wife purchased. So definitely got a housewarming gift that I need to get and bring over there at some point whenever I do get to see them. So.
Well, Sherwin happens to know quite a bit about the area.
I'm actually in Mooresville right now.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, and I signed a lease in Mooresville, so I will be moving here permanently, however long permanently is.
For the medium, at least term, permanently. So Sherwin, I think you'd said they kind of delayed giving you the keys or whatever to the apartment there, but the official PTM North Carolina studio will be opening up soon, and like you said, Mac, delivering some sort of housewarming for that will be in the cards, hopefully with a racetrack that will let us come see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, we'll let you run. Appreciate you being on for this long. I know I went a bit over what I had originally said.
Hey, that's all right. I appreciate the time, and hopefully we can do this again sometime in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Love to have you. We'll catch you later, man.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
One last thing, got to give a quick shout out. Again, like I said, I'm not sponsored, but hopefully in sometime in the near future, someone at Coca-Cola sees this. So appreciate them for the delicious drink.
I love it. Yeah. Love it.
Hometown beverage for us.
Take care. Cool. Well, Sherwin, let's see here. We are about ready to get this thing. How far are we? 37 seconds, and I will be posting this up on all the places where you post the things.
37 whole seconds.
That's right. And then
harder to fill than you'd think.
Yeah, yeah. So let's play. I don't know. It was. I think you remember the writer's strike that there was several years ago.
I do.
Yeah, and I think I was watching just because I was curious what like the late night hosts were doing, and it was Conan, and he had this bit for. It was how long can Conan like he took off his wedding ring and he was spinning it on his table. And it was like, how long will it spin for? And like the band was getting into it with like this whole drum roll, and they were zooming in on. I'm like, this is such garbage without a writer, but it kind of makes it hilarious. So it was. What can I say? That's where I'm like, I got to fill 37 seconds. All right, let's spin our rings on the counter and see who's lasts longer.
Yeah, 3 seconds later, shit, 34 more seconds to go.
Oh man. All right, we are done saving it, so now we have to upload it, put it on the internets. Yeah.
Did you hear about all the comedians scattering hither, thither, and yon?
No, what happened?
Joey moved his wife and his daughter to Jersey. Rogan and his band of gorillas, for lack of a better way of saying it, moved to Austin.
Holy smokes! And he's on Spotify now, if I remember right. I mean that's probably some big
right
money
around nowish is when that starts.
deal. Yeah.
Exclusivity starts January 1 or sometime first quarter. I think they were vague.
Yeah.
With when it becomes, but it sounded like it was. I think you're still not going to need a subscription, and it's just that Spotify is going to be the face of, we are the ones that upload the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's still going to be on iTunes from what I understand.
Yeah. That's crazy though. Up and going to also from LA, where he was, yeah, that's wild. So you're going to be able to smoke that much pot in Austin, Texas? I guess if anywhere in Texas.
Yeah, obviously they don't have the same
lack
of rules
yeah.
that California does. But I don't think anybody in Austin really cares.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a cool setting. I went to Austin for the first time last year, matter of fact, and had a blast. Place is super cool, and I want to go back and visit all the places that I didn't have time to go to then. So,
yeah,
I'm excited to get back there. But yeah, I did not know about that. Was there anybody else that's moving? Is everybody just gone?
There's a lot of them. A lot of them have bailed.
Did they say why?
They want to do comedy, and California is like a hard no.
Oh, really? So, like, just in public venue stuff?
Yeah,
is a big piece. That's very interesting. It's tough to be on board with that, and it's tough to be off board with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to say. That sucks. It sucks to be. I was just thinking about this the other day, just being in entertainment and what the entertainment folks are having to deal with right now. I mean, just bands and stuff. Like, I want to go to a concert. A band wants to play a concert, but we're stuck in the middle of how do we make this happen? So I don't know.
Right. Well, Bert's been doing. I don't know that he necessarily spearheaded it, but he was like the big enough one to do it for people to start taking notice. Mm-hmm. These drive-in shows.
Mm.
So it's just like going to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can show up, 2 hours before the show and tailgate around your car, and you can either sit in the car and FM stereo it, or they got a big PA system if you want to sit in a lawn chair. Apparently that's how it's been going. The ones that have done it said they really liked it. It was fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That would, and there's plenty of venues to be able to do that. It feels like there would be. Racetracks would be a perfect, local racetrack. Go down a local track, have them, sit in the middle or whatever, and everybody's backed up against a fence or something. Yeah,
well, Charlotte Motor Speedway has been doing drive-in movie night on the big screen on the backstretch.
That's that's a huge deal that other folks should take notice, I guess.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought of was that drive-in down in Decatur. I'm like,
yep.
If somebody funny goes there for that, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll try that out.
Absolutely, that would. We've tried that place out in various stages of inebriation.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Copy that off and pasty there. And with that, a couple more clicks, and we will be up on the on iTunes and all the places where you consume your favorite podcasts.
Nice.
Let's see. Hit that button. That button.
Just read the copy.
Feeds, and then if I go there, hopefully I see it. I do see it. It says play now. So that means it should be up on iTunes and, like I said, all the places where you consume your favorite podcasts. And the one you hate the most, PETM.
It's showing on my PETM screen.
Sweet.
Podbean.
Cool.
Yeah. It usually takes a while to populate in the web-based iTunes I have on my laptop, which is weird.
I don't know why that is. Because, like, if I bring up my phone right now and clicky, and I go to podcasts, and I go to PETM, and I refresh, it says, there's a new episode today, downloading right now, boom. So, yeah, I don't know.
It usually shows up in my phone pretty quick.
Yeah. So I don't know what the difference is, where their sources are that are different between those. But, that's internal to Apple. I don't know how to.
There's probably a prioritization algorithm that says 93% of all podcasts are listened to on a tablet or a phone.
Yeah. Okay, tweet that out and pin it to the profile page. And that should do it for what we have to do, what I have to do. Let's see, and then just go to profile, make sure that pasted good. Looks good to me. LGTM. Boom. There it is. Beast says we're up on Google. Sweet. Yeah. So, cool, man. Let's go ahead and say goodnight to the PTM posse. Thank y'all for hanging out. Hope you had some fun. Mac was fun to talk to. Had some good stories.
Yeah. Very present.
Yeah, very present. I like the way you put that. Yeah. All right, guys and gals, guys and dolls. I don't know. What did they used to say in the old days? I'm probably just going to say something, horrifically off color. So before I do, thank you.
Well, JoJo likes off color jokes, and I think she may be the only female that has lasted this long.
JoJo, thanks for hanging out. Roger, Beast, Matthew, Todd, Jumpy Bob, everybody that's been hanging out with us tonight. It's been a blast. We will talk to y'all next week.
Guest T.